One thing I wanted to mention too, I think it's important that within addiction treatment, we focus more on harm reduction. People really kind of frown upon harm reduction because they think it's like saying it's okay if you use drugs.
Harm reduction, how would you define that? Could you explain that? If you were to name a key to overcoming addiction, of course, as we just shared, there's comprehensive plans. There isn't one fix all, one cure per se. I know that word isn't even, I don't feel it fits, but if there's one thing to overcoming addiction, would you have a suggestion for that?
For me, it was my support system. For people without a support system, find a support system. You know, even if you don't want to do 12 steps, there are so many other groups out there, self-help groups, Facebook groups, you know, just find somebody that you can relate to, that you feel can understand you and help you walk through this huge change in your life. One thing I wanted to mention too, I think it's important that within addiction treatment, we focus more on harm reduction. People really kind of frown upon harm reduction because they think it's like saying it's okay if you use drugs.
Harm reduction, how would you define that? Could you explain that?
It's just making, like, you're in this space and you're not ready to change, but maybe you're ready to make changes that will make you safer. Clean needles, safe injection sites, having Narcan readily available. Those things are harm reduction. And, you know, some people work really well with harm reduction. You know, having a plan when you're using with somebody that isn't using, so they're with you and then they can help you if something happens. And I mean, there's plenty of harm reduction things, like people only drink on the weekends, or, you know, there's multiple different things, but I think it's important to note that that's a form of recovery, you know, like it's about keeping yourself safe.
Yeah, real interesting. I know that's a very
controversial topic.
It is. It is. For me personally, I always felt if it's a step to help someone get better, why would we impede that? You can't pass judgment on people living with something that you've never lived with. Like the politicians that want to talk about we can't have clean needles and we don't support that. It's like, bitch, you've never fucking lived with that.
Right.
Like, you have zippy idea of what that's
like.
like.
And it's a public health crisis.
Yeah.
I mean, people are dying not just from overdose, but hepatitis, AIDS. Yeah. I mean, you know, sharing needles and using dirty needles, people lose their arms. People lose a lot of things because they don't have access to things that they need.
Yeah. And they aren't at a point where they're going to quit. Like, very well said. Glad you brought that up, because that's something I think people need to understand as well. It's a step in the right direction. It's keeping them safe. It's keeping the spread down of those communicable diseases that even just the Narcan, I mean, how many lives have been saved? And I know you'll run into those people, well, like, they overdose.
Yeah.
I think of the people that come out on the other side and do wonderful things, that all that could be lost just for an ideology that you know nothing about. I feel is very ignorant. So I'm super glad you said that. I never heard harm reduction before. Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I don't keep up enough, but